and welcome to Tuesday's lesson. So, we're going to think a little bit more today about measurement. What my question is to you is, what would be best to measure your fingernail with? So obviously it depends on how long your fingernail is, but have a little look at maybe your little fingernail, and would it be best to measure using meters, centimetres or millimetres? Pause the video here and have a go. So, it depends on obviously how long your fingernail is, but if you look at your fingernail, mine is probably just over a centimetre. So I could use centimetres and millimetres to work it out. But if your fingernail was a little bit smaller than mine, a bit shorter than mine, you would probably use millimetres because your fingernail would not be over 1 centimetre. You would definitely not use metres. And the reason for that is because it would be too long. The metres is way too long to measure a fingernail with. Today, with our learning, it's the 23rd of February and we're going to recognise equivalent lengths in millimetres and centimetres. Now, yesterday we did the same, but we did this with metres and centimetres, okay? So remember, metres is the biggest measurement that we're working with at the moment. Millimetres is the little one. So step 1, I know that 10 millimetres equals 1 centimetre. Step 2, I can measure using millimetres and centimetres. And step 3, I can answer problem solving questions. You can pause the video here and write the LI if you like. If not, let's move on. So, the first thing I want to say to you is that this is a zoomed in ruler. So that means it's not to scale. You can't measure using this ruler on the screen, okay? It's almost as if I've got a ruler and I've just zoomed in really close at it, okay? Just so you can see. Now, we want to know how many millimetres are in a 1 centimetre. Let's move that for now. Here, I've got your millimetres, all right? And 1 centimetre is at the end here. So therefore, there are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. So each of these little tiny gaps is worth 1 millimetre. And then when you get to 10 millimetres, it equals a centimetre. So there are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. So how many centimetres in 20 millimetres? That's right, there'll be 2. And how many in 30 millimetres? 30 centimetres. And how many in 40 millimetres? That's right, 4 centimetres. Now, the last thing we need to think about is we know what these really long lines mean. Okay, they equal 1, they'll be a centimetre. But what about these middle lines? They're bang in the middle of 0 and 10 millimetres. So how are you going to work out how many that is? Now, an easy way, what's half of 10? What's halfway between 0 and 10? It is 5. So these are always going to be the multiples of 5 millimetres, okay? So there would be 15 millimetres there, 25 there, 35 there, 45 there. Let's move on to our term. Now, what you've got to do here is you've got to fill in the blanks. So you've got to fill in there, you've got to fill in there, and you've got to fill in there. Again, it is zoomed in, so it's not to scale, so you can't actually measure, okay? So you've got 0 here, right at the beginning, and you've got 1 centimetre here, okay? Obviously, you know that a centimetre is less than that, but it's just to show you. Now, obviously, these are our millimetres, okay? So this is 1 millimetre, 2 millimetres, 3 millimetres. So what I want you to do is fill in the back blanks there, and I want you to fill in what the answer is here. Once you've done that, I would like you to have a look at this. So again, this is the same, but we've got our 1 centimetre here, and we've got our 2 centimetres here. Okay. Now we know that there are 10 millimetres in a centimetre. So we need to know what the gaps are. So they'll maybe have some centimetres in them, they might not, and they'll definitely have millimetres in them also, okay? So you need to look, say for A, you look at the arrow and it's looking at this one here. So remember, you need to count up in ones because you're using your millimetres, okay? Pause the video here and then we'll have a go all together. Let's work out the answers. So here up the top, we know that we're going up in ones because we're going up in millimetres to get 1 centimetre. So 1 millimetre, 2 millimetres, 3 millimetres, 4 millimetres, millimetres, 5 millimetres. We know that because it's in the middle as well. Okay, 6 millimetres, 7 millimetres, 8 millimetres, 9 millimetres and 10 millimetres. Now that helps because we already know that 10 millimetres equals 1 centimetre. So if we look here, there are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. That's very important for converting, so we need to know that. Now this gets a bit trickier. Let's have a look at A. So A is this line here. So we need to count up in millimetres until we get to that line because we know that's going to be less than 1 centimetre. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 millimetres. A is 7 millimetres, but how many centimetres is it? It's no centimetres because we haven't actually got to 1 centimetre yet. Now B is also less than 1 centimetre, so let's count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimetres, 6, 7, 8, 9 millimetres. So B is 9 millimetres. Again, we know there is no centimetres in B because we haven't got to 1 centimetre yet. Now C is longer than 1 centimetre. So we can start at our 1 centimetre, but it's not as long as 2, is it? So let's start by we know that there's 1 centimetre at least in C. And then let's count up in our millimetres. So 1 millimetre, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 millimetres. So C is 1 centimetre and 6 millimetres. Now D is just over. Can you see the long line here? It says 2 centimetres. So we can see that that's 2 centimetres. But how many millimetres is it? 2 centimetres and 1 millimetre. Okay, because it's just over 2 centimetres. Hopefully you got those right. Tick them if you have, and let's move on to our next question. Now, these are the part-whole models. These are basically questions like addition questions or subtraction questions, okay? So that's a good way of looking at them. They're 2 parts, and the 2 parts equal the 1 whole. So it's really similar to a normal question, number sentence, okay? But these are using millimetres or centimetres or both, okay? Because obviously you can use both. So we're going to split up our centimetres in our millimetres into how many full centimetres there are and how many millimetres there are, okay? So remember, 10 millimetres equals 1 centimetre. See if you can look at the whole and then write what the 2 parts might be, okay? Look at the whole and write what the 2 parts might be. Look at the whole and write what the 2 parts might be. My trick for you, little tip, is just to really carefully look at whether it's millimetres or centimetres. Pause the video here and have a go. Now I've had a look myself at these, and I think for the last one there is more than one answer, so please don't worry if you got that one a bit confused. So we start off with this one, 45 millimetres. Now we know that there are 10 millimetres in every centimetre, so that will be 4 centimetres and 5 millimetres. So we can pop 4 centimetres here, and there's still 5 millimetres left over, so we can pop that there. Now, the next one, actually, I think is a little bit easier. All they've done is they've written it in a slightly different way. Okay, they haven't written 37 millimetres, they've written 3 centimetres and 7 millimetres. So we've got our 7 millimetres there, so there's going to be 3 centimetres there. Now for our next one, 54 centimetres, so that's a much longer amount, isn't it? Because we had 45 millimetres, but that's only equal to about 4 centimetres. But 54 centimetres is going to be longer than a ruler, isn't it, if you think about it? Now for this one, there's lots of different ways you can do it, but this is what I'm going to do. So with part wholes, as long as they add up to the correct amount, you're fine. Okay, there's no right or wrong answer necessarily. So 54 centimetres, I'm going to put up the 50 centimetres there. Okay, but then how many millimetres are we left over with? We're left over with 40 millimetres because there's 4 centimetres left over, aren't there, from here? So that's how I would do it. But you could have put 54 centimetres and 0 millimetres if you like. I reckon some of you probably will have done that. And that's fine because it does equal the correct amount. Well done. So it's your turn now. and we're going to have a go at the sheet that a grown-up has printed out for you from White Rose. Now, your mild challenge is the first page of your worksheet, and the medium challenge is the whole thing. Remember, every question gets slightly harder and makes you think a little bit more, okay? The whole point of the White Rose questions is it's designed to help you think. That's why sometimes they might look a little bit strange, and you might think, what is the point of this? Okay, but it's just because it's helping you think lots of different ways to make your brain even bigger. Your hot challenge is the Chili Challenge worksheet. These are problem-solving questions involving what we've been doing today. Now, you're all really good at these and you're getting better and better, I can see, each week at explaining your answer. Don't forget to do that. Have a lovely Tuesday and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!